Mother Nature brought rain, heat, and humidity to Evansville, but the thunder is supplied by the hydroplanes as we get set for Thunder on the Ohio from Evansville, Indiana. Hi, everyone. Rich Hollenberg here, joined as always by Steve Montgomery. And Steve, the first two venues of the year were brand new to the Hydros 99 Tour, but now we're in the grand old tradition of hydroplane racing.
Absolutely, Rich. The big boats have been coming here since 1979. 21 years, a very rich tradition here, a community that really supports this event. It's their chance to host a major motorsports race.
And this is going to be a great motorsports race, one of the fastest venues we'll see this summer.
It is. The course is actually a very fast 2-mile tri-oval, if you will. The back stretch is a true straightaway. The front stretch is not a straightaway. It actually has a kink in it. Doesn't seem to scrape off a lot of speed. It's a fast 2-mile race course.
One of the stories we've been following this season, the renewal of the rivalry between Dave Villwock and Chip Hanauer. They split the first two races of the season. Are we going to see another winner in the third race of the season?
Well, Rich, it was great to have two different winners in our first two races, but if a third team pops up and wins here in Evansville, we got a big story.
Well, a lot of big stories to follow as we get set to bring you Thunder on the Ohio from Evansville, Indiana, and a great day of racing. Start things off looking at the yellow boat, the York International, driven by Mark Webber.
One of two boats that crashed in Barrie, Ontario just a week ago, all repaired, ready to run one more time.
And qualifying third. Miss Madison, also back from her crash, qualified this morning.
Todd Yarling came through the crash. The boat did have a little more damage than the York International, but it too should be 100%.
And better late than never for him, getting there a day late. Miss Pico qualifying second, 157, nearly 158 miles an hour.
Jim Harvey Motorsports and driver Steve David, sponsored by Art Construction once again here in Evansville, qualified at 141.
And the man who won last week in Barrie, Ontario, Miss Budweiser, Dave Villwock, qualifying first, 162 miles an hour.
Dr. Ken Muscatel debuting a brand new boat here in Evansville. Did not get it in the water in time to qualify. Blew the cowling off right here. Hopes to race next week.
And then there's Nate Brown in the Lumar qualifying.
Kim Gregory and Mark Webber were bringing the York International team based in Las Vegas along nicely. The new team really making a lot of progress, but a speed bump, or a rooster tail if you want to get technical, put them upside down in Barrie. Fortunately, the damage to this boat was very minor. It's here in Evansville 100%. Now, this is a team that has won and has won recently. Any kind of a problem at the start for the Bud or the Pico or the other fast boats, these guys can win.
Checking out Heat 1 right now, and there is the York International boat. Mark Webber on the outside. On the inside, it's Chip Hanauer.
I think Mark Webber surprised a lot of people, including Chip Hanauer, by running with him for 3 laps. Here's the finish. It was close. Less than a boat length between the blue Pico and the yellow York International.
None other than Kim Gregory himself said that was one of the best hydroplane races he has seen in years. The York boat looked great in Heat 1A, a second-place finish behind Miss Pico. They are going to do a little tinkering, changing the engine like they did in Barrie, Ontario, trying to figure out which of the York engines runs best on the Ohio. Heat 2, and it was a bad start for almost the entire field. The Appian, the Bud, and the York with a bad start. Didn't matter. The York didn't even finish. The folks at U10 York International are hoping this here gearbox will solve their problems going from Heat 2 to Heat 3. The problem was the gearbox for York International. That's why Mark Webber was not able to finish the race in 2A. They're hoping for better results with this gearbox in Heat 3.
Jim Harvey and Steve David and their U2 running here as the Art Construction, still a brand new boat for 1999. Some bugs to work out, but they feel the hull is where they want it to be. They like the way the engines are working. Now the question is gearing and propellers. For Jim Harvey and Steve David, a disappointing qualifying effort has sent them inside the gearbox to change the ratio for race day on Sunday. It's a big job, but one that Jim hopes will pay off.
Now a look from the O'Doul's eye in the sky, and we're focusing on Steve David, who washed down and went inside the course, and that incurs a 1-lap penalty.
Steve David got back a bit at the start, back into the rooster tails. Now you see him headed for one of the turn buoys in the spot shadow. Supposed to go on the right side of that, ended up in the infield.
5th place out of 5 for Steve David and the U2 Art Construction boat in Heat 1A. They did incur a 1-lap penalty. That's because he got inside too far on one of the lanes. They said they were not happy with the way the boat ran in Heat 1A. They're going to work on the computer, try and up the RPMs, get a little more speed without overspeeding going into Heat 2. Seems like it's one headache after another for Steve David and the Art Construction boat. A bad start in Heat 2, and they flamed out with 30 seconds left.
Right when he should be making a start over here with the rest of the boats, Steve David trying to get his boat started. The good news, Rich, he did.
And he did, and with the bad start we showed you earlier, Steve David actually ends up in second place in this heat.
That's a little different strategy than we've seen before from the veteran here.
Well, I said yesterday that, you can't beat him with speed, so you just got to snucker him, and that's what we did, and those three guys just messed up. That was planned. It was planned for my engine to fail before we got to the entry pen.
It worked.
It worked, yeah. I don't know if we can do that the rest of the day, though, Steve.
Heat 2A produces a second-place finish for Steve David and the U2 Art Construction boat, but it was a very strange second-place finish. Finished the race he did, finished it in second place, but now he says going into Heat 3, this crew is maxed out. The boat, no major changes going into Heat 3. They hope they can hold on for another strong finish.
After scoring an impressive and rather surprising victory at Lake Havasu in our first event of 1999, Chip Hanauer and Fred Leland's Miss Pico spent the entire weekend in Barrie, Ontario, chasing Dave Villwock in Miss Budweiser. What'll happen here in Evansville, race number 3 of 99? Well, if qualifying speeds are any indication, this team has its hands full trying to get around the Red Rocket.
Here's a look at Heat 1 again from the O'Doul's eye in the sky, and not a great start for Chip Hanauer, but Steve, he does have the inside lane.
Another look at the heat we showed earlier with these two boats hooked it up. Chip able to use the inside advantage to overtake the York International and eventually drive to victory in a very close heat. Chip, a good win for you, but how about Mark Webber? Gave it a good run.
Great run. It's a great team. They're really up and coming. Great owners, great technical staff, and I think Mark's got a great future ahead of him.
A very successful start to the day on the Ohio River for Chip Hanauer and the Miss Pico team. Chip returning in grand fashion with an exciting win in Heat 1A. Fred Leland, the team owner, said they probably will make some changes throughout the day, but he's just going to wait and see how the heats unfold, who they're going to be racing against in Heat 2. And in that Heat 2, it was another inside lane for Chip Hanauer, but this time, Steve, it was a great start.
This time, Richie had the lane and the timing, and 400 points for Miss Pico.
Pair of first-place finishes for Chip Hanauer and the Miss Pico team, and they are very happy with the way things are going so far in Evansville, Indiana. So much so, they're not making any changes going into Heat 3. They really like the way the heat is shaping up as far as who their competition is, so they're keeping it status quo for now. We'll see what happens in the finals. The finals lay ahead, but Heat 3A is what's coming up next. Mark Webber and the crew getting ready for that race as we bring you hydroplane racing on ESPN Speed World. Welcome back to Evansville, Indiana, and the Rouse Thunder Tour presented by Las Vegas as we get set for Heat 3A on the Ohio River.
Once again, the draw for Heat 3 puts the Pico in the A section. He will not race against Miss Budweiser. Mike Webber puts the Master Tire, the piston-powered boat, in lane 1. Hanauer has lane 2, then Mark Webber in lane 3 in the York International, and Steve David out in lane 4 in the Art Construction. Mike Hansen swinging wide in the Jones Racing U9 as we come up to the start. 20 seconds to go, Rich, and we have about 1,500 feet now to run down to the start-finish line as the boats turn left.
And just as they finished in Heat 1A, it was Pico and Mark Webber deck to deck as they queue up for the start. But here comes Art Construction and Mike Hansen on both on the outside, and we are headed down to the start.
Looks like a legal start. Plenty of time before the start line goes by right there. Steve David doing a good job out in lane 3, leaving room for Mark Webber, who is back just a little bit. He did not get a great start in the York International, but he's in good position. And look at the Pico, carving a nice turn through turn 1.
And what can you say about Steve David having trouble in the first 2 heats of the day, but still putting the hammer down in Heat 3A and in second place as we speak?
The last time Steve David and Mark Webber got together was in Barrie, Ontario. Webber ended up in the rooster tail of Steve's boat and upside down. We saw from our overhead shot Steve leaving plenty of room in there now. As the Pico turns left, you'll see the Art Construction and a lot of room inside for the yellow boat, the York International, who now swings it way over into lane 1. He moves inside the Pico.
We've just completed the first lap of Heat 3A, and Chip Hanauer leads with a 146.190 average speed. That's pretty fast considering that throughout the day he's been complaining about getting his speed up So far, 146 good enough to lead this heat.
That's a good competitive speed in competition for Hanauer and the Pico. The boat appears, Rich, to me, to be handling very well, perhaps better than it did any time last year. And Chip may, of course, be a part of that. He has Steve David on his right, back a bit, and Mark Webber on his left. And those two are racing for second place behind this boat. And that's our leader, Chip Hanauer, the Miss Pico, coming down to complete lap 2.
And Chip Hanauer with the luxury of being able to take those turns fairly wide. Now the battle for second is what's really interesting. Steve David holding off Mark Webber. It looks like Mark's battling a little bit with his Miss York International boat.
And there's a lot of rough water back there because they're behind the Pico, so the guy that gets the smooth spot is going to have the advantage here with 1 lap to go. Obviously, nobody going to challenge Chip Hanauer here in Heat 3A unless something goes wrong with the Pico.
A great shot from the O'Doul's eye in the sky, and now we get a look at Steve David holding on for dear life in second place, but Mark Webber still not giving up on that second place finish. They're both chasing Chip Hanauer.
And the boat that's in third place, Webber's York International, on the inside, and that makes it a pretty good race because he's going to have a bit of an advantage now as Steve David on the outside tries to hang on to second place, doing a pretty good job out there. And this boat of Jim Harvey's definitely running better since being rebuilt over the winter.
And you get the feeling like Steve David and the Art Construction crew feel like they have nothing to lose the rest of the day in Evansville, Indiana, and they're performing like that. Chip Hanauer crossing the finish line and winning Heat 3A, winning it by more than a few rooster tails. The crew on the docks for the Miss Pico team very pleased with the results. Miss Pico in first, followed by ARC, York International, Jones Racing, and Master Time.
Well, you know that you're faster than everybody but Dave, and you'll have him next time.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm kind of used to that story, faster than everybody but Dave. But, you know, we got to forget these heats. They're behind us, and this is what we all came for to Evansville for, is the final.
Here's your Budweiser owner, Bernie Little, and crew chief Mark Smith talking things over as they get set for their Heat 3 coming up next. A new gearbox going in for Miss Pico as they are headed to the finals. Who are they going to face? Well, one of the boats is probably going to be Miss Budweiser.
When Bernie Little and his Budweiser racing team arrived in Barrie, Ontario, our second event of 1999, it had been 3 races since their last victory. You knew they'd be grimly determined. Well, they came off the truck with the fastest qualifying lap and then went on to score a perfect weekend. 3 consecutive heat victories and a very impressive win in the final. Now, the Bud team comes to Evansville and they are rolling a qualifying speed that is head and shoulders above the rest of the field.
And in Heat 1, it was same old, Steve. From the O'Doul's eye in the sky, you see Miss Budweiser, who's won here the last 3 years, a commanding lead.
In the first heat, Dave Villwalk never really challenged. He was like a qualifying lap out there, and he did cruise to a very easy victory his first time out.
Another win in Heat 1A for Dave Villwalk and Miss Budweiser, the big red boat, having no problems on the Ohio, but they are going to change out the prop. It's rotate, rotate, rotate for Bernie Little's crew. They have the props to change, so they're going to change them, see what weather conditions hold up on the Ohio, and also who they're going to be facing in Heat 2. And in Heat 2, aggressive driving from the start for all of the drivers, and it results in 3 boats jumping the gun.
Budweiser among them. There you see the red boat. All 3 of those boats over the line too soon.
And almost unheard of on the Thunder Tour, Budweiser finishes 3rd in Heat 2A. A very rare and uncommon 3rd place finish in Heat 2A for Miss Budweiser and Dave Villwalk. Nevertheless, they aren't going to be doing any major changes, just some tinkering around, some fine-tuning going into Heat 3. The bad start is what caused them to finish in 3rd, so they're looking for a much better finish in the 3rd heat.
For new driver Todd Yarling and the Miss Madison racing team, it's been good news and bad news ever since they arrived in Barrie, Ontario. The good news, they qualified very well. Then Todd won his first heat, scored an impressive 2nd place, but then tried to fit a boat 14 feet wide into a hole about 8 feet wide. He ended up upside down, and that, of course, ended his day. There was damage to the boat, which meant a late arrival here in Evansville. They have not run well in attempting to qualify. In fact, they are not qualified, but they'll be in the race with a commissioner's option, hoping to run well today.
Steve, you've got to be thankful for the small victories, and this is one of them. Miss Madison on the water. It's a victory in itself, but not able to start Heat 1B.
You saw Todd Yarling getting a little assist from the Budweiser crew. His crew has had a very long week, got their boat back together.
It was an unfortunate no-show for Todd Yarling and Miss Madison in Heat 1A. They got the boat here. They got it ready to race, but unfortunately for Heat 1A, the engine was not working up to snuff. So they are changing engines. They say they will be ready to run in Heat 2, and they will run it with the commissioner's exemption. And in Heat 2, it's the Madison with a big lead, courtesy of the bad start from the other boats.
When the three leaders jumped the gun at the start, it was Todd Yarling, fourth on the water, who was declared in first place. And here you see him chasing the field, who was actually a lap behind him because of the penalty. So when did you find out you were leading the thing?
About the second lap, he come on and said everybody jumped the gun, and then it got garbled. I didn't know if I jumped the gun or what. Then he said it a second time, and that last lap was hard, man. I just knew something was going to happen.
At the start, did you think they were early up ahead of you?
Oh, it sure looked like it. I got a chance to glance at the clock, and I still had 3 seconds. I knew I was a lot faster in 3 seconds, so I just kind of backed off and took it easy.
Now you feel like you're back.
Yeah, the boat's running great. We've got all of our problems solved, and looking forward to the rest of the day.
The drama continues for Miss Madison and Todd Yarling. Charlie Groom's telling me that they are not changing anything going from Heat 2 to Heat 3, and why should they? They won Heat 2A, so the drama continues. They did not start in Heat 1 because of engine troubles. They switch out engines. Lo and behold, they win it in Heat 2, going into Heat 3 with high hopes.
Lumar window film driver Nate Brown's memories of Evansville include floating upside down in the Ohio River in this boat in 1995 when it was the tide and crashed in the first turn. Now Bill Worster's team is back with us for the balance of 1999. The old boat is always quick. The driver, very tenacious, a hard charger. One of these weekends, they'll catch a break and score a victory. Definitely one of the teams to watch.
And we have to watch them because in Heat 1, you see the Lumar on the outside getting very close to Mike Hansen in the white boat.
Actually, I think Nate's line was pretty good. Mike moved out a little bit. They almost got together there, but that's one disaster we avoided.
And by avoiding that disaster, Nate Brown ends up finishing in third in Heat 1A. A third-place finish for the Lumar crew on the Ohio River, averaging 127 miles an hour in Heat 1A. And they said they're not going to make any major changes going into Heat 2. They're saving the good stuff for the finals. Here's more of Heat 2. There you see the Lumar on the outside, and that's Greg Hopp and Miss Wiki on the inside.
Two boats fairly equally matched. A good race for second and third. Nate ended up taking second place in a good race with young Greg Hopp. Long ways around the outside, but you can go fast out there.
Well, you know, I've learned a couple things in boat racing. The inside lane is fast, but it's really rough. And I'm 40 tomorrow, and my back is getting stiff and sore, so I knew I could hold up the speed in the outside. Greg did a great job of running. I started running him down a little bit, but then he started doing the old driving thing on me, and I could never have caught him. So it's a great race. We finished second. We've still got a ways to go before we can be up front with the big boys.
A third-place finish in the first heat, a second-place finish in the second heat for Nate Brown and the Lumar crew, and they said they're not making any kind of changes going into Heat 3. Very happy with the way the boat ran in the first heat, and especially in this heat. They said they're running in the money. They're happy. The first two heats are in the books, so Heat 3B is right around the corner from the Ohio River in Evansville, Indiana. Miss Madison challenging Miss Budweiser. Who will take it? We'll tell you when we come back. Welcome back to Evansville, Indiana for Thunder on the Ohio Ralph's Thunder Tour presented by Las Vegas. Rich Hollenberg, Steve Montgomery getting set to call Heat 3B, and we're just about set to start.
Greg Hopp wins the battle for lane 1, moving Miss Budweiser and Vilwalk out into lane 2. Then Mitch Evans in the Appian Geronimo, Nate Brown in lane 4. Lane 5 will be Todd Yarling in the Miss Madison. Here comes the start, 8 seconds to go, and it looks like they're about on time at this point.
And there's the inside lane, and that is Miss Wiki. But Lumar and Nate Brown coming up on the outside, taking the lead at the start, and it was a clean start.
Mitch Evans back there in the Appian Geronimo, the purple and cream boat. But oh, he's going to run out of water here. Where's he going to go? Through the rooster tail is the answer, and it may put out the fire. Todd Yarling has to swing way wide to make sure he doesn't get mixed up in that. Goes outside one of the outer marker buoys, and now, Rich, I think everybody got through that okay, but the Appian Geronimo probably has to restart.
Now the Budweiser with the lead down the Kentucky straightaway, as they call it, on the opposite side of the Ohio River, making the turn with a big lead, and it seems to be lengthening that lead.
Knowing that he has Greg Hopp to his left, he leaves a nice big lane in there. Nate Brown, though, out in lane 3 can keep his boat speed up, and he's going to run a good strong second at least here on the first lap.
But it is Miss Budweiser, your leader, after 1 lap, and Dave Villwock with that lead, extending that lead, a first lap speed of 152.336, and I don't know if any of the other boats can contend with that.
The other boat's fastest qualifier was just about that fast, and Villwock is out in lane 3 right now. He definitely has this field covered, Rich, and knows he doesn't have to be inside to win.
And it might be a race for second place right now as Dave Villwock content to stay out in front and test the waters on the Ohio River. Miss Budweiser running very well, coming back strong after that 3rd place finish in Heat 2.
Now he has the overlap. He's well ahead of Greg Hopp in lane 1. He could legally move over and take that lane away from him, but you see him still leaving room in there so that Greg doesn't get into that rough water. Being a gentleman's sportsman, if you will, but when you have this kind of equipment, you can afford to do that.
Here's a good look from the O'Doul's eye in the sky. You see the Budweiser boat and you see no one else behind him. That's because the lead has just gotten bigger as this race has gone on.
Bernie Little has been coming to Evansville ever since this event started in 1979. He's had good days and bad ones. Some of them have ended in heartbreak. Today, everything perfection so far for the Red Rocket Miss Budweiser here in Evansville.
And it will be an easy victory for Miss Budweiser, leaving in its wake Miss Wiki and Greg Hopp, who's been riding strong. Nate Brown, who's had a good day so far, but they are no match for Miss Budweiser as it enters the final turn and down the home stretch to the finish line. Another win for Dave Villwock as they get set for the finals.
And another very important 400 points in that national high points race. He hasn't had a perfect day, but it's been a very good day so far for Dave Villwock and Miss Budweiser. Another victory here in Heat 3B. Nate Brown wins the race for second place.
The good news is Mark Webber and York International are in the finals. The bad news is it seems like you're going in a little dinged up.
Yeah, we are, but, you know, we didn't think we were going to make the final. This crew worked way too hard this week, and we had a great boat ride for Heat 1, and then we broke the gearbox in 2, and if for no other reason, the crew really needs this pick-me-up. I mean, we've got a great race boat. We're going to be down a little bit in the final with this gear selection, but we'll get it fixed by Madison. We're going to give it our best shot. We're not going to roll over and sleep, I guarantee you.
It is all gravy.
Yeah, lane choice is going to be very important with this boy, with this gearbox we got.
All right, good luck.
Thank you.
Dave Villwock and Miss Budweiser with a win in Heat 3B, followed by Lumar, Miss Wiki, Miss Madison, and Appian Geronimo. Steve's on the docks with Dave.
It doesn't look like you need to change much for the final.
No, our boat's really good. You know, it's been good all weekend, so if we can just keep somebody, you know, doing something to us, we'll be all right.
Just put some fuel in it, put it back in the river, huh?
That's right. The guys did a great job, so it's been ready all weekend. Hopefully we can just go check everything out, make a few little changes, and go to the front.
What started as a promising day for you two, Arc Construction, and Steve David ended up in disappointment. Explain to us what happened with the N2 violation.
Well, the governing body has rules on how fast you can turn these turbines, and if you overspeed them, you're allowed a minor violation of less than 1 second. In that last heat, we were over the maximum speeds you're allowed to for twice in a 20-second period, so you lose all points for that heat, which essentially means we're not in the final heat. So we have to make a decision now if we run the consolation heat, which means we start 15 seconds behind in the final. And I'm not sure we're going to do that because we got some limited equipment, and we've got to go back and regroup and get ready to try to win the race next weekend. So we'll be cheering on whoever wins this thing as long as it ain't the red boat.
All right, at the very least, we'll see you next week.
We'll be back. We don't give up.
Thunder on the Ohio, developing more plot lines, and then a soap opera. We'll be back with the finals coming up next. You're watching Ralph's Thunder Tour presented by Las Vegas on ESPN Speed World. Welcome back to Hydros 99 from Evansville, Indiana. The music is playing, the people are dancing, trying to keep cool, and this is a good way to keep cool. The youngsters have the right idea. A lot of these fans coming to see the Budweiser Beer School as well that Bernie Little brought along with him. Some of the fans getting autographs from people like Dave Villwock and Mark Webber.
Some of the unlimited light drivers joining in the autograph session. There's Charlie Wiggins, winner last time out, and Greg Hopp signs one of the programs for a young fan. Everyone here, Rich, glad we caught a break in the weather. Heavy rain showers on Saturday afternoon. Now a little breezy, perhaps, at least up on top. And these guys have a great job holding the boats and keeping cool. The Clydesdales are here as part of the Budweiser entourage. The food is always great up in the hospitality area. It's all part of the Evansville Freedom Festival, a great community celebration here on the Ohio River.
Dave Vilwalk responding after Heat 2's finish with a big win in Heat 3. Now heading into the finals. I know you were just in the truck looking at the computer. How's it look?
Looks pretty good, you know. So Mark's making a few little changes, and we'll go down and see what best we can do. You know, everybody's here. It's a big dogfight. Really, boats are real competitive. They're all running within a couple miles an hour. So we'll see who comes out on top.
First time on the water with Chip in the finals. You guys have been split up in your heats. Is that weighing on your mind at all?
No, it was nice to get away from him. Actually, with a point lead, you know, it's nice not to run him. You know, so we'll just pick him up here in the final and see if we can't work him over a little bit. We'll just see what happens.
Good luck.
Thanks.
3 teams have turned in withdrawal slips just before the running of the final heat. It really only affects one of them, Nate Brown and the Lumar. They would have been in the final. The other 20, the U-20 Appian Geronimo, had not had a good weekend. Wouldn't have been there anyway. Ditto Mike Hansen and Jones racing the white boat, the U-9. Now this team, the Master Tire, the hometown piston-powered boat, as a result of the withdrawals, will be in the final heat, but as a trailer boat. It may very well get a little bit rough back there. They were packing up for the trip up to Madison. Instead, they will get ready to run in the final. Other boats we haven't talked about a lot this weekend include Greg Hopp in his dad's boat, racing here as the WIKY, sponsored by a local radio station. Pretty solid weekend. They're in the final. And of course, the commissioner's boat, Ken Muscatel, a brand new boat, did get into the water, did not qualify. They too will try it next week in Madison. Everybody else getting ready to run in the final.
Today's Alamo Almanac is brought to you by Alamo Rent-A-Car. Ready, set, go. Come on and drive happy today.
The locally based piston-powered team, the Master Tire, has had good days and bad days as well here in Evansville. This, one of the worst, 1996. This was the old boat, not the new one they're running today. But in the turn right there, the big splash is the Master Tire split right down the middle. Mitch Evans was the driver back then. He looks at the left side of the boat, and it is totally gone, floating down the Ohio River as the Cooper family, Ed Sr. and Jr., there they are, picking up the pieces. They went back to the shop and decided to build a brand new boat, and that's the one you see running here today, having a much better day than they did in 1996.
After 3 wins in the 3 heats in Evansville, Indiana, Chip Hanauer, you're heading into the finals. It'll be your first time with the Bud boat on the water at the same time. What are your chances going in?
I guess on paper they're not so good. Again, they've been running faster laps all day long than we have. They qualified much faster. In fact, they're running race laps faster than we qualified. So, but anything can happen, and we'll go out there and give it our best shot.
That's why you run the races.
That's why they run the races. Have us do it look just about as bleak, and somehow we managed that one. So maybe it can happen again.
All right, good luck.
Thank you.
Our defending national champion in the Unlimited Lights has had a little bit of a rocky start to the 1999 season, including a confrontation with Charlie Wiggins in the Earl's Performance Products that got him a Band-Aid here on the side of the boat. But Bo Scheid and the Alamo have run well in preliminary heats here in Evansville. This should be another one of those classic matchups between the 2 yellow boats. Our Unlimited Lights final coming up when we return. Welcome back as Thunder on the Ohio becomes Automotive Thunder. The Unlimited Lights take to the water, but let's check in with Rich.
Courtesy of that big win in Heat 2, Todd Yarley and Miss Madison have qualified for the final. And Todd, what an up and down day, my friend. I can't believe what's been going on with this boat. Are you geared up for the final now?
Oh, yeah, definitely. You know, we brought a boat that was pretty crippled. We didn't even think we was going to get here, and then we had all that trouble in the first heat, and now we made it into the final. That just, you know, that's Miss Madison, and that's the whole team. And what a fabulous boat. Everybody's really excited now and really looking forward to getting this over with and getting home on our race course that we all know and love, and just letting Madison go out there and really do her stuff.
Just get it on the water and you never know when magic happens.
Well, you know, that's boat racing. Anything can happen, and it usually does.
Now the automotive-powered Unlimited Lights coming down to start their final heat. From the inside out, it's Charlie Wiggins, then Bo Scheid in the Alamo. Greg Hopp is driving Phil Bonancini's boat in lane 3. Cal Phipps in the Apex Laser, then Randy Haas outside in the blue boat, Miss Comp Air, and Randy makes a great start, but he's way on the outside. Now watch the competition between the 2 rivals on the inside in the yellow boats. A little bit of an advantage early on, Rich, to Charlie Wiggins in the Earl's Performance Products.
Charlie Wiggins looking to make it 3 for 3. He won in Havasu City, he won in Barrie, Ontario, and he's looking for his 3rd win in 3 tries on the 99 season.
We showed you the damage to the right side of the Alamo. That's where they got together in Barrie. That's been repaired now, but they are running behind an old nemesis. This boat used to belong to Kim Gregory. It was the Wildfire. It raced very close to the Alamo then, and so far this season, Rich, he's been able to keep it ahead of the Alamo. But you know that Bo Scheid, right behind him, is charging very, very hard.
And Bo Scheid certainly has a score to settle with the way things turned out in Barrie, Ontario, with the 2 boats colliding. He would like nothing more than to win this race and win it by beating and passing Charlie Wiggins.
And there is more speed back in the pack. That red boat of Phil Bonancini's has run very well with Greg Hopp in the cockpit, substituting for Phil. Now watch the Alamo try to go around the outside of a very fast Earl's Performance boat driven by Charlie Wiggins. They are still very close together as they go into this turn.
Not even a full rooster tail lead for Wiggins as he turns around the Kentucky backstretch, but it is Wiggins holding on to the lead. Bo Scheid not giving up any room, though, trying to close ground every time they get past the turn and into a straightaway. You know he's got confidence in that Alamo ride.
The Alamo, the defending national champion. I can't really say they dominated 1998 because this boat did score victories as well, but so far a little frustration in the Alamo camp. Charlie Wiggins and his new hull, the engines built by his dad down in Gadsden, Alabama, have been absolutely magnificent here in 1999, and once again they have their boat out ahead of the defending national champion.
And will it come down to the fact that Charlie Wiggins has the inside lane and he's had it from almost the get-go? That's going to be problems for Bo Scheid as he tries to close the gap, and that gap is not getting any smaller. Wiggins holding him off at each turn and each straightaway.
Realistically, these 2 boats are very equally matched, and you're right, Rich. The guy on the inside is going to have the advantage. So in the lights, just as in the Unlimiteds, perhaps even more so, the start is going to be critical here throughout 1999 for these 2 boats. But after his experience in Barrie, I'm not sure Bo wanted a chance going inside of Charlie again. They got tangled up last time he did that.
And look how high the front end of that boat is off the water on the Ohio River. Bo Scheid is letting it all hang out right now, trying desperately to catch up to Charlie Wiggins, not having much success at it, though.
He's going to run out of time. Charlie Wiggins turning left for the last time in the Earl's Performance Products Unlimited Light will take the checkered flag at the finish line right there, defeating Bo Scheid, the defending national champion in the Alamo. Greg Hopp scores 3rd place. Let's go down to Rich and check in the pits.
Strong day of racing at Thunder of the Ohio for Nate Brown and the Lumar boat. A great 3 heats, but unfortunately it ends in disappointment. Instead of telling us, why don't you show us what happened?
Well, thanks, Rich. The Lumar boat ran great this week, and I was really pumped for the final. But I gotta show you something, okay? Look underneath here. You'll see when I was going in that last corner on the last lap, I felt the boat hook. What actually had happened once we pulled it out of the water, about an 8-foot-long piece of 1/8-inch thick aluminum fell off the bottom of the boat, and we dinged the prop, and as you can see, we can't run the final, and I'm really bummed about it, I'll tell you.
All we can do is say we'll see you in Madison.
Hey, we'll be there, bud.
Good work. Good work. Hey.
Well, Charlie and Milt, that's 3 in a row. The old owners never did that, did they?
Hey, we just had a lot of luck. Yeah. A lot of hard work.
That's a good boat ride, Charlie. You got to like it.
Oh, yeah, I do. I got to first thank the Lord for giving us a safe race. And, yeah, it's a great ride. Ron Jones is a great builder. Father's a great owner, put a great boat under me. And just trying to show Alamo we got what it takes to run with them.
Fasten your seatbelts. The big boys are coming up next. The finals of the unlimited hydroplanes from the Budweiser Thunder on the Ohio in Evansville, Indiana is right around the corner on ESPN Speed World.